Hey everybody, happy Camtober. It's Camtober already. How did that happen? Um, King family fans, here's the thing. I have I have shown you every piece of footage from anything that would be autumnal and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So I'm going to share a couple of memories and tell you about some of my own experiences at the door at Halloween. So, that work for you? Well, it's going to have to. In 1965, when we were first on the air, well, let me back up. My favorite magazine as a kid was called Famous Monsters of Filmland. It was every page was monster movies, Dracula, creature, robots, aliens, everything. And and I'm sure some of you guys, maybe some of you girls, also got this magazine. I just couldn't wait till it came out. On the back page was an ad for a very expensive company that made the Universal monsters, Wolfman and Dracula, Creature. I can't remember them all. But I longed to have one of those, the Wolfman. Well, we were on the air, and my dad, from time to time, let me purchase something out of my paycheck. After all, here's my money. So we had a place called the Party Shop on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, long gone. And they had these masks up there. Now, these masks were $35 a piece in 1965. So that's a hell of a lot of money. But I'm making money, so, it's out of my own pocket. They came with hands, but the hands were not available. So when we, poor little rich boy, poor little Hollywood orphan, when we got back to the set, our makeup man, Rudy, I can't think of his last name off the top of my head, we got some just regular monster hands, and he was spirit gum glued Wolfman type hair onto my hands as I'm sitting in our makeup chair there at ABC. Years later, what is the date on this? I don't have my glasses on. So y'all have to look it up. This is the hideous sun demon. Is that reflecting? Are we okay? That good? Okay. This is a picture of the hideous sun demon, which was my dad. He couldn't have pleased me more had he made the cover of Time magazine or Life magazine, because my whole life was about monsters. So I was so proud of this. For some of you who've seen some of the Halloween clips, Bob Mackey, and I have showed you in the past the clown costume he made me, and I was like, old brat, why would it be a clown? I want to be a monster, right? Anyway, he made a sexy Morticia Addams for Lorette, and came with a big long black wig. And I had a Halloween party that year, and I had, it was our first year on TV, and every kid at school wanted to come. And I think we made it to about 5 houses before everybody ran out of candy. Anyway, I remember Lorette, and I might have her retell this. I had a little girl that lived behind me who had this gorgeous, long, natural black hair, like, down to here. And she too had a Morticia costume. And I remember Lorette at 6 years old or whatever, being so jealous that my neighbor girl could do it without a wig. Yeah, child stars. What are you gonna do? Years on, after I went to Halloween parties and stuff, and as a young person, as I've gotten older, I have preferred just going to the front door and greeting kids. I'll just share with you 2 little stories, because I know this is probably the longest video you ever had from me. But my nephew can cut it if we need to make it 2 parts. Anyway, I did a witch one year, and I'm always a different character. And maybe some of you have seen Tina and me as Mr. and Mrs. Titmouse. And we greet the children, and yes, we pass out the candy. Maybe I'll post a picture of that for those of you that haven't seen that. Every year I do something different. One year I was Satan Claus, full Santa costume, but I bought at the makeup store zombie eyes, all white. Yeah, that didn't go over too well with the little ones. Neil Patrick Harris used to live across the street from me, and he was as crazy for Halloween as I was. And I remember one Halloween that was like Steven Spielberg directed it. All our neighbors, it's a dead-end street, got together. Neil, he put a string from his trees to mine and would pull the ghost across. And he had a stilt walker that was dressed all in ivy, completely everywhere. And she would stand in my tree like this, frozen. She had the 4 stilts, like a giraffe, like this. And when someone would walk by, boom, 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 she'd go over their head. It was amazing. For those of you that are Charlie Brown fans, Great Pumpkin fans, I decided to mess with the kids' heads and give out rocks, just like Charlie Brown got. And then I would call the kids back, and give them the real candy. But so I give kids rock and I call them back. And then at one point I hear a little, and I open the door, and this little girl looks like Cindy Lou Who. And she looks up at me and says, "I didn't get a rock." Oh, priceless. Neil told me the next day we hooked up, and he said, "Yeah, thanks for that great pumpkin joke, Cam." I went, "Why? What?" He had done a huge mad scientist display with an electric chair, and should I kill him? What does everybody think? And he said one time he was doing this, around and around as the kids came, and one kid shouts, "Throw your rocks at him!" So I can tell you no one got hurt, and no windows were broken, but a few rocks were thrown at Neil's garage. Sorry, blame the Great Pumpkin. How long are we recording now? Any idea? This is like way long.
We're at 8:23.
8:23. Well, I'll come back with a couple of more. We'll keep recording, and then Lexi, my nephew, will cut it. So let's pretend this is the end of an episode. Thanks for tuning into CamCorder.